Hey
All
guys,
right.
I'm Tokyo Paul. I'm with my friend Chris James. Uh, yeah, Chris, nice to see you today. Hey, how are you doing?
Good to see you again, Paul. I'm doing good. It's a pleasure, always. Love your
Good to see
videos.
you.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Chris in Tokyo or Chris James got
Yep,
two
Chris in
channels I'm working
Tokyo.
on.
Also making YouTube. You have a YouTube channel, and the audio will be for Tokyo Paul podcast. So today we're just gonna have a casual chat with you. Since I've met you, I've been really curious because I know you. You're an IT guy. Uh, you're for me. I know you as an IT expert, but you're also a teacher. So I'm very curious
Hmm.
to get to know you better. And so we'll just have a little over 30-minute casual chat to get to know you. Is that cool?
Great. Oh, that's great, man. Looking forward to it.
Nice. So
Ask me anything.
yeah, thanks. The first question I have is just, where are you from? Tell us about yourself.
Right. So I'm from New York, and I grew up in Florida, did some college there. Like I enjoyed computer stuff as a kid, always like trying to build something or doing some kind of PC gaming, even back in Windows 95, 98, there's tons of things you can do online and I think computers haven't changed too much since then. But yeah, I'm from the United States, so.
Cool, nice. So I'm hearing like interested. You're interested in computers. Like, are you a programmer or?
Currently, I do like a lot of different projects, so it's kind of like client based, but I work for one company. It's kind of my main job, and I'm supporting their like IT infrastructure. It's more of a school, and they have like two locations. So I maintain their computer systems, and I also am teaching programming there.
Oh, nice.
So it's not a full-time role. It's just part-time, and then on my other free time, I'm supporting a few other clients. It's kind of inconsistent, but some of the clients are like 1 year, so it just really depends. So the other clients, what I'm doing is I'm doing web development and SEO.
Okay.
So there's like three other tech companies I'm working with locally. Some of them are new companies, and some of them are startup companies, kind of baby companies, but they're really good. So it's
Wow.
kind of a freelancer.
Nice, nice. So you're a tech expert. What I heard, like you maintain like the computer systems at the schools and in that company, and you also freelance. Uh, I'm curious. So then, what are you expert in certain computer languages, or what's your
Um,
expertise?
That's a really good question. So, like in the US, I had a company for about 8 years and I was doing more help desk. So I'm really good with like the IT support, like basically, kind of one-on-one or networking and operating system, hardware, software. I know like the hardware systems and then also the software systems, so I can do both. And I recently, about maybe I would say 10 years ago, I switched over to Mac, so I can do both Mac and Windows troubleshooting. But I have a background. It started as a hobby of building websites, but I have a background in web development. I really like to kind of build a website and so other people can see it, try to like maybe influence people or give them some content. It's more of like entertainment. So I'm kind of full stack, so I can set up a
Cool.
server
Oh,
and the backend system, but then the front end system would be the languages that I do is HTML, PHP, little MySQL, and JavaScript.
wow,
So those are kind of more front end languages for web design. So it's kind of
wow.
like that.
That's
But I'm
cool.
not like an expert. I'm kind of like just intermediate level. So.
Wow. Okay. And then like I just read a question. I don't
Mm.
know programming. Do you make any apps or
Oh, that's a good question. So I've made a few apps already with a few different companies in Japan. In US, I made like one or two web apps, and mainly some of the apps I made, it's like customizing WordPress, so it's more PHP based. But being in Japan, I came across some very motivated startup companies, and one of them we actually made an iOS and Android app. It's like a social commerce site. So it's basically like combining like the Facebook and the Amazon together, and then you have like a seller platform where you can also socialize with buyers and sellers. So it's kind of interesting. And that project is kind of on hold now, but it's a really good technology. And they have some similar companies in China that are doing that. One of them is called Red.
Sorry,
So you
what?
guys
A
can kind
red,
of, I
red,
think it's called Red.
red,
So if you guys
red.
can kind of, yeah, Red, like the color.
Yeah.
So you guys can kind of look it up. Social commerce is a big, kind of growing in China right now, but like other countries, it's still kind of a new market. So we're waiting for the right approach and the marketing plan for that project. But yeah, it's a really good technology, and hoping to see it become very popular soon, kind of like LinkedIn became very popular.
Yeah.
So it's more of a niche social network, and that's kind of my passion is more social networking sites.
Okay.
So I'm working on 3 or 4 different social networking sites right now, and I'm hoping one of them will be more many users and grow in the future. So
That sounds cool. I mean, you mentioned it was, back when you're in America, it was like an interest or sounds like a passion of yours. I mean, you're working on multiple projects. How are you like learning these new, technologies? And even in the past, like, did you just, was it like a learn as you go, or how did you acquire these skills?
that's a good question. So I mean, it kind of started at like I was like I think 11 years old or something, but that's when I started like setting up a local web server and like basic HTML. And I didn't really start learning more programming after that. I just kind of learned how to kind of copy and paste code. So, for example, I guess the US search engine is really good. So if you want to find a code to do a specific thing, you can find a library and then you can copy and paste that code, and sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't work and you have to debug it. So I've been doing that for a while, but recently, in the last 2 years, I started learning more PHP because I learned a little PHP a while ago, and more, like Linux and different programming languages. That like I learned CSS, which is some people say it's not new, but it's kind of new. It's more of the design and style language of HTML. So I'm kind of
By
old
yourself?
school. Yeah, I took like LinkedIn learning courses and like
Okay. LinkedIn Learning
I
course.
signed up. There's a few courses online. There's a HBS, Harvard Business School. They have like a programming class on there.
Wow. So
Um,
you're like personally motivated or yeah, very passionate about this.
yeah, I love tech. So if there's something like I want to do, I just find out the way to do it, like just searching the internet. And
That's
it's all like self-taught because like this college classes, they'll teach you the basics, but like to actually customize it and apply it to a client or a specific project, you gonna have to kind of do your own homework on that. So it's really every company is developing differently. They're using different tools. It's very custom, and there's so many software applications that people are using for developing now. Because you have like this one main terminal, and then you have all these custom little modules like that you can like it's like mini apps that you can plug
oh
into it, and
yeah.
then so it's really custom. So
Wow. Okay. Dang, it sounds like yeah, you're deep and it's your passion um and since I've known you, I've always been wondering what brought you to Japan?
to Japan.
I know you're in
Um,
Tokyo, you're Chris in Tokyo. So what brought you to Japan, Chris in Tokyo?
that's a really good question. So like as a kid, like I guess I kind of saw a lot of most of the things that I liked in United States, they're like from Japan, right? Like anime or cars or certain games or certain things like that, right? And I figured like I don't know, Japan became very interesting, and I know like Japan was like the lead global tech country like a few years ago. So like I figured, it kind of work out well. And then I think one time I was kind of just getting bored living in US and stuff, and things were kind of changing. So
When
I
did
don't
you
know,
come over?
what year? It was like 2015 or 16. I think I came as a vacation. Um, really like kind of use the place that really motivated me to come because I was just sitting like on my couch and for some reason the YouTube algorithm, they just brought all these little videos. I think it was like I started seeing Rachel and June and the
Yeah,
Tikio Sam guy, and I was like, oh wow, they're living there. It seems pretty easy. It
big
seems like
favorite YouTubers.
Japanese is a very hard language to learn, and they're surviving there. I was like, oh well, if they can do it, then maybe I can do it. I don't know.
Nice.
So there was another guy, he said, like, if you want to move to another country, just go there first, like as a vacation, don't decide before going.
Yeah.
And maybe that sounds too common sense, but like I guess I need that kind of basic knowledge because I don't think sometimes I don't think that way, right? Uh, and then I came on vacation, like I stayed about a month, and I was kind of missing like you know the U.S. a little bit, but I went back to the US and then I realized, you know, I want to make a plan to move to Japan. And it took about total, it took 2 years to plan it, but like
Oh,
overall, it took like 6 months after I came back to really organize my house and storage and that kind of thing. And it's really, really hard. And
you went back to US and then planned for your return to Japan.
mhm, yeah,
Okay, cool. Wow, that makes sense. I did that.
and I took a big risk because it's kind of faith, but it's more of a risk because when I decided to move to Japan, I didn't actually have a job. Like I didn't have any like visa to stay like long. So I just had a 3 month visa, but it was just like I was saying like okay, I'll move here, but it's just gonna be like 3 months until I can get a job. If I can't, then I'll go back. So like it took about 9 months. I actually left Japan again. I stayed a little bit in like Korea or another country, and then I came back, and then finally I got like kind of resident status, but it took a while. So
Wow,
it was really a big risk that I took because a lot of people they join like the JET program or become an English teacher, or they apply online and they already have like their housing and everything set up. They're ready to, live there. They have their visa before they even come. They have a bank account. But, I was kind of working with a small company and they don't really recruit outside of their Japan. So I had to physically come here and physically go online and do interviews and look for a job. And I hired an attorney, all kinds of things through like legal process because I didn't know anything. And it's a very big process to move to Japan. And it's not really easy to find a job. But at that time, I guess I was getting a lot of interviews, so I was kind of lucky. But
nice.
only like one
You're looking
company
for
really
like
stuck.
a IT job or what kind of job was it?
I was open-minded. I was looking for um, actually I just wanted to be a student in the beginning. I actually went to Temple University
Oh, wow.
and I was trying to apply for that because like I didn't really have the motivation to work a job that time. I was just kind of stressed moving and I had a little bit of savings, so I just wanted to kind of stay here for a while, maybe a year, and get like a student visa. But like it turned out that after talking to like lawyer and getting advice, and they're like, yeah, the working visa is the easiest way, even though it doesn't sound like it. So I got, you know, kind of a first role. It didn't work out, and then the second role was the first role I was supposed to work in a financial company,
Oh, nice.
for like a headquarters and do HR work, but this that didn't work out. After a few months, they kind of changed their mind, and then that was a good job though. It was like Central Tokyo. And then the second role was an English teacher, but they also wanted me to build an app for them and they wanted me to do some IT work. And I said, okay. And they were supposed to be full time, but they changed it to part time and they said, like, you're really qualified and you should try some freelancing stuff. So I took their advice and don't really regret it because, like, I had some really interesting experiences being a freelancer here. So it's been kind of a pretty crazy ride, but every once in a while I ask them like, can I be full time? And they're like kind of, oh well, you're doing good as a freelancer. Maybe we'll think about it, but So still part time, but you know,
And may I ask, like, so how did you find gigs, freelancing, at the beginning? How could you find work?
that's a good question. So, um, you know, be honest, and I'm gonna start from US too. Like, how did I build a business in US? It all started with Craigslist. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not 80% of my clients were Craigslist business, everything. Even I had a few e-commerce sites in US. So when I moved to Japan, I found a shared house. It was Craigslist. I found one or two job roles. It was Craigslist. The first job role, I went through a recruiter and a lawyer, and it didn't work out. The second one was Craigslist. It worked out. So that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But right now, I've tried to do some things on Craigslist. There's some kind of issue with the site. It kind of kicks off your post or something. There's some kind of bug. I don't know if it's locally, but I also see like other like United States. Sometimes I check Craigslist. It looks like they're not doing so well right now. So, I mean, as far as people buying something or response to the ads. I'm doing some marketing over there too for some IT. So like I still want to provide the global IT support or web development. So I'm trying to advertise there, and Craigslist's been a little bit weird lately. So I don't know.
But Craigslist was a good opportunity to find connections. I hear share
Hmm.
house. I hear job
Yeah.
connection opportunities. Cool, cool. And how's the
Yeah.
social life been since you've been in Japan? Have you
Social life.
started
Well,
it's 5 years ago now?
5 years ago, man. Like I was, even though it's Japan, I kind of trusted people still a lot. Just culturally, but I was still pretty very paranoid in the beginning because I don't know anybody. I don't know the situation and whatever, and I kind of
So
trusted
how
my
did you meet
boss.
people?
Um, so like after being here like 2 years or 3 years, then I started to kind of open up a little bit more. I went to like some night events, but then like things always change. So more of like going out at night. Kind of should be a late nights and meeting friends through friends.
Yeah, very nice, nice.
Most of my friends are bilingual, so even though I want to practice Japanese, they want to talk in English, and
Mm,
it's kind of a plus and a minus at the same time. So
yeah.
yeah,
Speaking of,
meetup
how's
was
your Japanese?
what is it?
How's your Japanese? Are you studying now or
I would say it's like a maybe N4 level or N almost N3 with a kanji, but
you
it's
pick it
not
up
so well. It's improving slowly.
conversational?
Um, but I got hit with a big project last year, and I put the Japanese on pause. But I've been studying like this month very little, like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I wanna study. I think in a working environment, like I can communicate in Japanese, very basic, and even technical things. So it's kind of working proficiency, but I don't think it's really advanced. um, if it's a really complicated topic, I don't think I can maybe understand 70% mark, but I can't really, I can just kind of give a very straight answer. And I'm always thinking in the English mindset, so it's like either yes or no, right? Like English is very simple, like kind of, so like, um, some Japanese is kind of like layers, right? Like when they explain something, first they'll explain the whole thing, and then they'll explain the middle feeling of everybody, and then they'll go into the topic or the decision, and everybody has to talk about it and make a decision, even like lower level employees. So it's kind of like from the bottom up, but like American like companies, the boss decides, so it's like from the top down. So it's kind of it's more of a cultural thing than it is a language thing as well. So sometimes I get lost in that. I'm like, wait, shouldn't the boss decide that? And then they're
Mm,
asking everybody's opinion in the meeting, and I'm thinking like, oh,
very group
so
oriented. Yeah,
it's pretty interesting,
interesting. And
kind
how
of kind of
about?
thing like that.
Sorry, I wanted to get back to when you
Hmm.
mentioned like life in Japan, even from beginning to now. Um, when you living day to day, you mentioned a share house, but even now with your many years of experience, Do you have any tips? Like, how much money do you need to, survive in Japan, or any tips on like, transportation,
Mhm.
general tips for living in Japan when you first moved here, or that you can recall?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So definitely, like I would say, you need a SIM card. If you
How do you
come
get that?
here, well, you can go to like electronic shops. The main one is like Big Camera or um, Yodobashi Camera or those kind of shops. They have like a traveler SIM card, but it's very expensive.
How much is it?
Sometimes I used to go ahead.
Sorry, you said
It's
expensive, so I was like, how much is it?
Oh yeah, it's like for like 2 to 5 gigabytes at that time, it was like maybe $40, and it
Oh,
goes very quick.
yeah.
And that's when like I think Japan was very open to travelers. I think 2018 was the record high, like the most people that ever came to Japan in 1 year ever in the whole like history, of Japan. So they were making a lot of money, and I think I used to piggyback off of the Starbucks Wi-Fi. I'm gonna say
Oh, nice.
Google Maps is your best
Oh,
friend.
yeah,
The Google Maps, definitely use Google Maps if you're lost. It's gonna be your best friend.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
and I used to walk. Taking a taxi is very expensive. The train is very cheap here. I was surprised. You're gonna pay 200 yen, which is $2 one way anywhere in Tokyo. They have like a whole daily pass too, for like 600 yen or 700 yen. I don't know if it changed. They used to have a rail pass for foreigners. You pay like $100 for a week or something. You can go
Did you
like
use that?
anywhere in Japan. I never used it because you have to like register online. There's a
Mm,
lot of things I regret I didn't do. Like first, like I didn't bring an international driver's license because
me too.
preferably the car is the best thing.
Are you thinking about doing that, like getting a license, or?
I went there and my American driver's license already expires. So if you have an expired driver's license, you didn't renew it, then they're not gonna accept it. So you have to start all over again. So
Mm,
they say driving school, but like you can just apply. I think I'm not sure. It depends on the office, but like they just told me like I can get a learner's permit for like 6 months and practice and then take another test. And I heard the test is really hard. But they do have an English, so it is kind of a little bit friendly for the foreigners. But I just still haven't done it because I've been so busy.
yeah,
And the transportation is very convenient. So you don't really need a car if you're near Tokyo or maybe Osaka.
yeah.
So,
And so how about this year? Yeah, thank you for sharing. How about this year? Like, of course, we're still kind of under Corona. Uh,
mm-hmm.
how's life been this year in this Corona C situation?
It's very interesting. Like a lot of I've like a few of my, boss or manager, they're like, "Oh yeah, Corona's over now." And I'm thinking like, well, it just had another variant, but yeah, it's not as strong. That's a good thing. I see a mix now. I see some social events are canceled, some are not, and there's very few working limitations now. I mean, I think some companies are still remote, but I would say a lot of companies already went back, and we have a lot of holidays on the calendar this year, and so a lot of people are like having a lot of time off, a lot of vacation, and they are, working remotely or going to the office. But I think it's picked up a little bit. A lot of people are going to the office. But it's some people are working half of the week in the office, so they still are concerned about, the virus and stuff. So it's still mixed, but it's not like it was before. I don't think it'll even maybe 5 or 10 years. I don't think it'll ever go back to the same. Because when I first came here, the trains were packed. Like you can probably search YouTube and see all those videos of people
Yeah,
just pushing themselves
like
in there
pushing
like a
into the
sandwich.
train.
We don't see that anymore. So I think people are more careful. The trains are kind of packed, but I would say it's like 70% of what it was to be 100%.
My question is, what do you do for funnies now this year? in 2022?
That's a good question. So, I guess I enjoy my work too much. So, like, kind of a hobby of mine, I'm usually making some kind of new website, and I'm trying to put like
Wow.
a big portfolio together of all the types of apps that I want to make. They're more like web apps. So recently, well, 2 years ago, I uploaded a social networking site that I made like 10 years ago, but updated it. And recently, I want to make like a classified ad site. So I'm working on putting a blog together. So I do a little bit of blogging, some video, vlogging, those kind of things.
Is there
And
anywhere where we can find your work, your like, you know,
mm,
all your IT work? Is there like a GitHub or a blog, a website?
my GitHub is
The audience know.
maybe Chris GitHub / Chris in Tokyo, and I made a new
I'll put a link in the
website.
description.
Oh, thanks. I think the best thing is my new website. It's called chrisjames.pro. So the domain extension is pro, and I'm gonna
ChrisJames.pro.
pro, yeah, chrisjames.pro. It shows like my skills, but I'm gonna start like uploading some of the projects I did on there. Basically, the site has my social media links, like you can reach me, and I wanna advertise my new channel because I'm making a lot of tech videos on there. It's just Chris James. Um,
Cool.
but I've been making some tech videos on there. So,
Yeah, good segue because I met you as a YouTuber. Um, I know you as Chris in Tokyo from your Chris in Tokyo channel. Yeah, tell us about that. How did you become a YouTuber? US, Japan?
hmm so I got inspired by a lot of other channels. Like I was saying, like Rachel Jun, TKO Sam, Canada Jin 3, but I guess her channel's not so busy right now. I guess Charla. I think everybody knows Charla, right? Abroad.
What kind of
Those
content do you make?
I really like the Japan content. I think I was very interested because everything in Japan it looks very different from any other country. And the way they make things, it looks very it's really I should say superficial. Like it's very beautiful in appearance, things like that. So it's very new, I think, and appealing. Those kind of things. So I wanted to make those kind of videos, but also about Japan because YouTube has helped me a lot to grow and learn about Japan and how to move here. So I wanted to kind of do the same thing with the Chris in Tokyo channel. And I
What's your
wanted
favorite video that you've made?
I would say like when I went it was kind of recent and it's a very short video. It was when I went to the Kawaguchiko and did the 360 video of the Mount
Yes, I blew
Fuji.
up.
I've been really wanting to do that video for a long time, and finally I did it. So
Nice.
it's very beautiful. Like I've been really wanting to go there during Hanami season and see the Mount Fuji and the sakura trees and the pink color is really beautiful. So I thought that
That's a
uh,
nice spot.
probably my favorite video so far.
Nice, nice. And
So.
that's thank you for sharing. That's really amazing place. I know you took me to Color de Chico. It's definitely
Mhm.
I was cloudy when we went, but I did see your 360 much better weather. Um, I'm curious. Do you miss your family or friends or the
Um,
connection from the states?
I would say at one point in time, everybody has the peak of their life, but sometimes they have like a midlife crisis or they have like a second peak in their life. It's like kind of, you know, the climax of your life or whatever. I had a really good time in the US. At one time, like I was at the peak of like my career there and that kind of thing. And I had a really good time. So I do kind of miss some of those moments. I miss driving. I missed my car there. I had a really nice car there and those kind of things.
Nice,
Um,
nice,
hoping it would have came more soon here in Japan, but like I'm still working on getting my license here, so it's kind of so. But
nice.
those kind of things I miss. And the moments I shared with other people there as well, family or whatever. I would say yeah, it's definitely crosses my mind at least once a week or more. So, you know,
So do you think you'll stay in Japan, for the time being, or any future plans? Or
I wanna be permanent resident here, but my one of my newest projects and what I'm trying to do now, I've already started working on it. And yesterday I was talking to a lawyer, but I'm trying to restart a company in the United States um, for like creating an app. It's gonna be a tech company, and um, I want to get investors and those kind of things. So I want to create like a U.S. entity,
uh,
business entity. So I'm trying to work on that. So I want to kind of be back and forth. Um,
you're
but
like an
maybe for the
entrepreneur. Yeah, I thought you were as a tech guy, but you're like an entrepreneur.
Yeah, US is the best for business. I'm telling you, like it's the easiest, the best, straightforward. Anybody can start a business. I've already seen online. There's people who are not even US resident citizens or residents. They're just starting remote companies there all the time. Like
Um,
it's so business friendly.
you're like,
And
I gotta ask you offline. Yeah, thanks. Cool. So you're just thinking about starting some companies in the States, and you have companies
yeah.
in Japan.
So like I helped start up a few companies here with people just kind of just supporting as an engineer. Um, so I kind of gave them advice and a lot of them got monetized. I mean, they actually like got clients and they're kind of a real company now. They started as just getting by investors and just forming that way, like on a loan or something, but they're doing pretty well and they're getting a lot of development projects. But some of the clients they're busy, they're working on other projects. So I didn't actually start my own company here yet, but that's one of the things I want to do, and I'm probably waiting until I become permanent, and then at that point it's more easy. Like either if you're married to somebody here or you become permanent visa, you can start a company. The other way, I don't know for sure because it really depends. But the other way, I talked to a lawyer and he said like you have to have like $50,000 in capital and then you can
Wow.
start like a company here. So it's little tricky, a little expensive. It's still less than United States because I think United States, if you want to get a business visa, you have to invest like 200K, but Japan is like 50K, so that's not bad. But there's a lot of restrictions here. Like if you want to be a CEO, you can only get paid up to $10,000 a month. There's all kinds of different things compared to US that so like having a US company first and then going global and forming the Japan office or vice versa. Like Mercari and
Mm.
what is it, Rakuten, they started in Japan and then they made their California branch.
I wonder how that
You know,
branch is doing.
I want to do like that. What is it?
Nice. Now I wonder how that Rakuten branch in California is doing. Yeah.
You know, they're picking up, and I heard Aeon, which is the like kind of food store here. They're like kind of shop. They're starting a new business in Texas. So a
Yeah.
lot of Japanese companies, I think this year it's gonna be like a trend.
Yeah.
They're gonna start to follow those companies, and they're gonna try to form their company probably in United States.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a trend. So
And
um,
sorry, you mentioned you're I feel like you're an entrepreneur, but you're an engineer, teacher, and IT like technician. In general, like for the industry, maybe in Japan, like how much does that career make?
that's a good question. So, like, as a engineer in Japan, I would say Tokyo is kind of like New York. It's the New York of Japan, right? So if you want to make the most money in Japan as an engineer, you should go Osaka or Tokyo or maybe Fukuoka, but like Tokyo is the best pay. It's the most foreigner friendly. Even if you don't know English, you can land a job with like a bilingual or foreign company. And I would say I've seen the average of all companies, all people. I would say it's about the $5,000 range a month, 4 to 5 thousand. Like they have like some junior positions and entry level. Um, I could be wrong because I've been working as a foreigner, and usually foreigners have a standard threshold. They don't get paid under two, 2,500 a month. So
Wow,
I would say,
that's
you
kind of
know,
common.
and the yen is down, so I would say the average is 4 or 5,000.
Wow,
Um, but there is people who are getting in the, you know, $8,000 or $9,000 range a month, more senior positions.
like a senior
Um,
engineer for IT.
and
Again,
for me, I'm a freelancer, so every month is different. But as a freelancer, sometimes you can, even if you're not a senior engineer, you can make almost the same or sometimes more. Um, if you have multiple projects and they pay you kind of part-time, so like you have one project, it's kind of a part-time job, and Japanese companies like to pay a salary. They don't want to pay like hourly, or they don't want to pay. It depends, but sometimes they want to pay like as a package. So like if you have 3 or 4 startup companies or small companies you're supporting part-time for IT, you can imagine maybe it's $2,000, $3,000 a month, could be less. And if you add it all up, you could make more than a full-time job.
that's
So,
very impressive. And thank you so much for your time today, Chris.
mhm.
I'm sure our audience and viewers have learned a lot. How can they contact you if they have more questions? Or I'm hoping you'll be in the video will premiere and you'll be in the chat. But how can they contact you personally? Are you open to that?
Yeah, please contact me like for IT support, or if you wanna like just ask a question or something like that, just connect. I'm trying to build a global network, of like people and just try to connect with many people. So,
Is that like on Instagram or email? Or
I have an Instagram. It's chrisjames.pro, and then my
just
website is the same, chrisjames.pro.
website?
Um,
Change.pro. Nice.
chrisjames.pro, and then so on the website there's a contact form, and it also says my email address. Maybe we can put in the description, but I will make another email on the site, maybe uh, just like support at chrisjames.pro, something like that. But yeah, like all my links are on the website, and the
Yeah,
website
I'll put
URL
it
is
in the description.
chrisjames.pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Thanks so
you
much.
can.
Thanks for your time today, Chris.
No problem. Yeah, thank you, Paul. It was really nice to see you again, and hope to
Yeah.
see you in the next video.